Hello everybody, welcome back to the creepy screen. This is OBS software. This is how I make my videos for anyone who's interested. And welcome back to my basement. Today we are going to demonstrate how to get started with the University of Iowa's virtual desktop system, which is a way that students can freely access a bunch of different programs, including SAS, Stata, and R, as used for 6243 and 6270 this semester. So what I have open here is the course webpage. I have also opened up a handout that I have created that walks us through this process that I will be following. That handout is posted right here next to the first assignment's due date, since that will be the point where it is most relevant, and the videos that I am making right now will be posted here very shortly. So this is where I found this handout. The first page lists several things that you will need to have done in advance. One is to set up two-factor authentication. So the link to that is right here. There's a series of instructions. I'm assuming that everyone probably has had to do this already just to be able to register for classes and such, because a lot of those systems also use two-factor authentication. Also, if you are coming to us from off campus, you need to have the virtual private network running in the background. So here is the link to that. You can download it and install it free of charge. I have already downloaded it and used it many times, so I actually have a shortcut to it saved up here. I will go ahead and log in myself. So to do so, we'll hit connect. My Iowa ID is stored there. I will type in my usual password, and then where it says second password, you can either type the word push and it will send a notification to the software that you use for two-factor authentication, or you can type SMS and it will send a series of numbers via text message to your phone, and then you would type in those numbers in a second try. But since two-factor authentication is a lot easier with the notifications, I'll hit push here. I hit OK. Now what you can't see is me hitting accept or approve to the login on my phone, and voila, now I have the virtual desktop running in the background. So that step is done. Two-factor login is done. Next thing that's on the list here is mounting the H drive. So you may have already done this, and if not, I'm going to demonstrate how to do it. The H drive is a place that you can access anywhere on campus, and you can also map your own machines to it so that you can access the same files from home. This step is not strictly necessary to use the virtual desktop, but students have had the most success if they store their files in the H drive, because that is a dedicated place that the system understands. And the file structure is also usually more simple than what you would have on your own machine. So I'm going to demonstrate how to do that in this case. I have pulled up a Windows Explorer on my local laptop here, and I had previously done this step as well as other drives on campus, but I'll show you how to do it. So you can map network drive. It asks you what you'd like to do. So I'm going to pick the H letter. You can pick whatever you'd like, but H is for continuity. And in the folder, there is an address here on the web page that you must type in. So I will put it right here, and it says replace Hawk ID with your Hawk ID. So I will do that. Les Hoffman is what I am. And here's the key. You need to connect using different credentials, because to sign into this drive, you need your Iowa information, whereas the login to enter your local machine would be some other login that is specific just to your device. So we want to make sure that we connect using these Iowa credentials. I'm going to hit finish. It's asking me for my University of Iowa password, which I'll do that. And I'll say remember my credentials and hit OK. And it's telling me that it's attempting to connect. And if it is successful, then I should be able to get to my files, and lo and behold, it is. So these are just default files that are included whenever you have the H drive. You can do whatever you want with them, but I am going to use this as the place that I store the example materials for this demonstration. So now we have moved on to the second page. So the next step is to grab the files that are needed for this demonstration. You can do so in several different places. They are linked right here for example 1 files. They are linked right here with the videos and the handout for this demonstration, and then I have a link right here. So I'll go ahead and click it from the web page. It brings up a zip folder. And so here's Dropbox. This is where I normally store all of my things. Instead, I'm going to navigate back to my H drive, and I'm going to store it just in the root directory there. Ta-da! So now if I go back to my H drive, I have this zip folder. Before I can use these files though, I have to extract them. So .zip is a compressed folder extension. It's a way that you can download many files at the same time with only one link, which is why I use it. But at least in Windows, you need to extract it manually. So I'm going to you can either go up to the menu here and hit extract all, or you can right click on it. Yes, thank you. It's very concerned that it's going to hurt me with files that I made myself. And hit extract all here. I'm going to hit the extract button. It defaults to show extracted files when complete. And there we go. It's thinking about it. I'll take a sip of coffee while we're waiting. I invite you to do the same. Do. Getting there. There we go. Okay, so it opened it up in a new folder, but I'll close that. So when you go into the folder here, if you double click on it, up here in the address bar, let me get that so you can see it a little bit better. Once you go into the folder again, you'll notice the address to it has two instances of PSQF 6243 example 1, PSQF 243 example 1. So by default, it extracts to a subfolder with the same name. So I'll back out of it so you can see that again. So this is the H drive. I go into the folder that I just created. I go into the folder with the same name, and there's my files. So I point this out because this is a common hiccup. If you don't change the name, you end up with this double nested structure, but that doesn't hurt anything. So here are all of the files. One of the things that is useful is to make sure that under the View menu, you have file name extensions so that you can see what kind they are. So on my device, because I have these programs installed, the icons indicate what kind of file it is, but it will be more difficult to tell that if you don't have the programs installed. So viewing the file name extensions is a useful way to tell what's what. Okay. So now we have finished and we're ready to go to the virtual desktop. So we've done the mounting step here. I'll close that. And virtual desktop login is linked from here. Here we go. So I had already put in my login information, which is why it's opened up. And if you don't have the most current version of the software, you can download it here. It may insist that you download it before it lets you in. Either way, you can download it and install it. And if you haven't been here before, your screen will look like this. You do not have any favorite apps yet. That's no biggie. We're going to go over to apps and see what we can find. So it lists all 47 that I currently have access to. You can narrow down the list by going to miscellaneous. It's the one I want to do first, to get Windows Explorer. Now this step may seem redundant, but it's actually essential. Because the Windows Explorer that I was working with here, this window is on my local laptop, so it has access to all of my local files. That's not going to help me use the virtual desktop. Instead, I have to use Windows Explorer on the virtual desktop so that it understands where my files are with respect to its machine. So this is a very important step to make sure that it knows where your files are within its own directory. So I'm going to click Add to Favorites here, and I'm also going to open it. I think that's a step that's down the road, but why not? I will need a new app. Of course I do. Looks like I need to download this after all. Let me pause the video and fix that. Okay, coming back here, what I'm going to do offline is download the software, and then I'm going to install it, and then I'll be back. And I'm back. So I have just downloaded it, and after downloading it, it wants me to enter my email address, so I did so. And now it wants to know how I want to log in. We're going to pick virtual desktop. So I'm going to log in with my credentials here. You can remember my password, that'll be fine. It does run slow, so this is in fact an accurate demonstration of what you can expect. So I so far have only favorited Windows Explorer. Let me go ahead and open that up. Make sure that it's going to work this time. It's thinking about it. There we go. So now I have a new window here that looks a lot like the window that I had on my own computer, but you can see that the interface is slightly different. And so on here, there is a place for my H drive already, which is why using the H drive on your own machine can make the file transfer more seamless. So I'm going to navigate to that H drive so you can see that this is the same place where I downloaded my files. So we're all set with respect to that. For the other apps, so if we go over here in the virtual desktop interface to statistical analysis, the ones that we will be using, there's quite a few as you can see, would be RStudio. So that is how we access R, not plain R by itself, which looks like a DOS window. SAS 64-bit, this one. There's an alternative enterprise that some people like, but I have not had a chance to get to know very well. I stick with just regular old SAS. And then also Stata. So I'm going to put all of those things on my favorites so that on my home menu, they show up by themselves. Okay, so now we have our programs ready to go. We have the place where our files are ready to go. And from here, I will pick up with separate videos for each of the packages to be demonstrated. So see you shortly.